Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Diaz, and today I'm here to speak to you about two different videos we watched, and also talk to you about some stressors we have at work and how we deal with them, how we've learned to deal with them through the studies in this project. The first video was a TED Series speech by Martin Seligman called The State of Psychology. A very interesting video that took a very methodical and scientific walk through where psychology was, where it is today, and where it's moving. Some of the key points from the video was talking about how previously psychology was a tricks and smoke and mirrors type of science. Over the last 60 years, it's become more of the ability to treat actual illnesses, not only treat them, but cure them, based upon real scientific principles, real testing, real placebo, double-blind studies, the things you need to do to validate and understand which things work and which things really don't work anecdotally. The second video I watched was a little different. It was called The Secret. It was a 20-minute cut of a movie, basically what I consider to be like an infomercial about this new way of thinking. The main thought behind the process was, if you think it, if you believe it, it will happen. That concerned me a little bit, but I went and I listened to the whole thing. It was not really based on any scientific principles. It was mostly based upon the power of positive thought. Not a bad thing, but there was really no meat behind the bones, as they said. They talked about being able to visualize a necklace that you wanted and focusing on it and having positive thoughts about it and good feelings, and that necklace will come to you. They don't talk about the drunk driver that's driving down the road that I now have to visualize not to hit me, even though I don't know it's coming. So it was a little different in its structure than the original video, the TED Talk. So I got a lot more out of the TED speech. That's really how I would summarize those. When it comes to what I would consider more valid of a speech and more scientifically sound, I really would talk about Martin's speech, about how it really was based upon real thought out principles, real proven embedded medical and scientific methods for tracking and trending and understanding how medicine works. I was really impressed with the last part of the speech, talking about positive psychology, not only dealing with the illnesses, the thought that if you treat all the illnesses, you only bring someone back to zero. If you don't work on happiness, if you don't work on positive thinking, if you don't work on increasing the good that people have, you really net yourself down to basically an average, unhappy, not unhappy person, when life should be more than that. And also about concentrating on people that may not have a significant emotional illness, but are just generally unhappy. Figuring out why, getting methods and breaking that into pieces and understanding how that works and what techniques are more successful to others based upon studies, placebo tests, and comparison across large parts of our population. The secret video more to me was more of a selling point of trying to sell something to me. It felt like that everyone was very enthusiastic about that, but it was based upon very, very high level principles that whatever I thought of will come true. Any negative thought I have will come true if I think about it hard enough. Any positive thought I have, becoming a billionaire, being able to cure cancer, that all it was available to me just by positive thought. There was no scientific rationale behind it, and so I felt it to be a lot less valid in its medical and scientific basis. Lastly, I'd like to talk about stressors at my current job and how they come about and how we deal with them. A major stressor in our job at my management level is having a significant number of superiors above you, directors, the vice presidents, the presidents, that have different techniques on how to run a business. It becomes very hard serving more than one master. We try to do the best job we can in our job. We all do. We try to do what we think is best in each situation. Every individual situation that comes up to me, I analyze, I use my experience, and I try to move through as best I can to eliminate mistakes and make things as efficient as possible. Sometimes, though, my techniques may not be someone else's techniques. So I end up getting mentored a lot. and spoken to a lot and talked to a lot about how I could have done things differently. All well and good, but when it becomes overwhelming, when more than one person is doing that, it causes an immense amount of stress, causes you to second guess yourself, and causes you to not really have a happy work life, and therefore not have a happy home life, because I come home worn out every day. The way I've learned to deal with it is really a lot of the techniques that we read about earlier in the documentation we read earlier, which really was important to me. It allowed me to understand that if I have positive thoughts and if I socialize what my issues are, they get less. Having a mentor at work that I had the freedom to talk to, the ability to sit down and vent to and let them know how I feel, the process of talking through something and having someone feel the same way or understand how I feel really helped reduce the stress. It may not reduce the amount of mentoring or people watching over me, but my ability to deal with was greatly increased. It also helped because it allowed me to brainstorm with my mentor to say, how can I deal with this better? What things can we do to help smooth these out so we're constantly not being pushed in many different directions by many different thought processes? To get my management team to trust me, to understand that I know what I'm doing, I will keep them informed, and I'll do the best I can. And when something goes wrong, they will know. Um, one of the things we talked about was me and my boss going and talking to one of the senior VPs in the company and discussing the issue with him openly. Being able to talk to him and say, we feel like that every time we make a move, we have to worry about being judged on that move. Whether it's right or wrong, there's always some comment back on how we really could do things better. He was really shocked by this, and it really could tell that it shook him. And we learned his intention was never to be overcritical. He thought it was because he really saw the value in both of us, and he thought anything he could do to help us advance in our careers, he was going to do. He was taking the extra time to give us the information he thought we needed to move ahead. But when he realized he was starting to cross that line where nobody wanted to bring something to his attention because we didn't want the half-hour mentor speech, he really backed off and he apologized and he said, you come to me, I will help you when you need help. That gave me the freedom and the reduced stress level to do my job, but know that I have someone that's very smart and knows this business very well that I can go to when necessary. Well, that's my thoughts on the videos and also my thoughts on stress information that we learned about this week. I appreciate your time and have a nice night. Goodbye.